Hi there, you're at the Solana Wyckoff technical analysis session, and we'll look at both weekly and daily charts and see where Solana is heading. Is there still hope for a higher high? So, starting with the weekly chart, previously we put in these tags, and this may not be LPSY in the end because the uptrend is still continuing, even though it's like a very mild slope over here. It's pretty flat, around 30 degrees I would say. So it's still edging towards that upwards of the distribution. Whether it's going to go all the way to the key level of 260 is still an unknown, but so far for what we're seeing, both the volume as well as the candlestick, like with wicks at the bottom, meaning the bulls are pushing the price up, supporting it above this key level of 180, it seems like it's slowly edging upwards to challenge the 210 again, because last week the bulls tried but failed. But the difference this time is last week, because the price was pretty close to the top edge of the upward channel, this bearish flag for candlestick pattern analysis. So this upward trading channel, the ceiling was there when the price or the bulls tried to challenge it. Now that 2 weeks have passed, if it starts next week and the price goes up again to challenge the 210, there's still a bit of room up there. That's around 220. So there may be a chance that the bulls will be successful this time and keep the candle closing above the 210 and eventually trading along this range, edging towards the 260. So that's a positive scenario for the bulls. But what if this doesn't work and then the price comes down? That's totally possible as well, because currently you can see these two times the bulls basically has failed to challenge the 210 level. What if it happens the third time? And eventually that means the demand really is dying down, so it may return to challenge the green or even the bottom edge of this upward channel. So when it falls outside of this upward channel and show us a new sign of weakness, that's when a more likely scenario of price returning to accumulation cycle would happen. For Solana, it did not have many for us to take reference. The most obvious one was back in 2002-2003. The rest were still this mega distributions that started as early as the fourth quarter of 2023. So that's the big picture view, where it's getting really tricky while it's still within the upward channel, edging towards the upwards of the distribution. There is hidden danger that the price is going to finally come back to where it started to accumulate. Hey, hi there. I see a message just now, but let me enlarge it a little because I've made it a little bit too small. So let me adjust it and see. So, just want to say hi, have watched your videos but have not joined the live stream before. Hey, hello, Agent. Hopefully I'm pronounced your name correct. Welcome. So, thanks for your support. Let's continue with the chart. So, enough said for the macro. Let's go to the micro view. But before that, let's quickly check the corner squeeze. A squeeze is happening right now. So, I hope it doesn't happen so soon that next week it immediately comes down to test the bottom edge of the channel box, because you see, let me close the drawings. The purple lines are, one is within, the other is lingering around the orange curve already. So I would consider a squeeze is already happening. So previously the squeeze happened, the price shot up. But now is at the top of the channel. So if a squeeze happens, the likelihood of it coming down may be a bit higher. even though it may do some moves like this, let's expect a dip may happen in the interim. So there's a chance of that happening. So pay or keep in mind. Let's go to the micro view for the moment. So micro view here. Last week we put in these tags asking, is the price going to come down for another sign of weakness, or is it going to go straight for an upthrust? Obviously the second test has already happened, but I wouldn't consider this a sign of weakness because it's just at the level of automatic reaction right here. Let me remove some of these trend box because they are blocking your view. So basically what's happening right now is that this distribution in the daily is still going on, and there may still be a chance that it has to the upthrust. So for the daily chart, it's heading towards the upthrust, while the weekly is going to challenge the upthrust of the distribution. So those two can go in line to challenge the key purple level of 260. So that's where it is now for Solana. And yesterday's candle seems to be providing some very positive signal for the bulls, or whoever wants to join the bulls team. Even though I said risk is there, so the macro, it may come down for an adjustment, while it's still hopeful for like a further leg up. Just want to quickly check one thing. For question, does the volume need to be the highest at the buying or selling climax, or can it be higher during secondary test or UTAD? So let's go to the weekly chart for your question. It doesn't have to be the highest for the first wave. So looking at this buying climax over here, right? The up first also has some very long, tall candles plus volume bars. So these volume bars were pretty much around similar level. So it's not a must for that to happen. But then the initial boost sometimes may exhibit a higher volume than the actual peaks, because at those high levels, I would say if there are whales trying to push the price upwards, they would do it upfront to make the boost very obvious for people, to trigger people to FOMO in. And then when the price gets to here, that's when the whales are trying to offload whatever they have on hand. So the smaller players come in, they won't be able to trigger similar volume level as the whales. So that's how I interpret the whole thing. So yeah, your question, volume may not be highest at the actual peaks, but before the peaks actually. So one more cycle over here, that's when the price started to shoot up. We see the most high white volume bars, and eventually during the upthrust, these volumes were actually lower than where the PSY and buying climax was. So hope that answered your question. And going back to the daily, to continue what I said earlier, while we're hoping for an upthrust to happen, this over here, this long wick at the top, getting bounced off from the key level of 210. If the next few days the bulls are trying to retest this level, hopefully they gain sufficient momentum this time, because the volume last time wasn't bad. But getting to this point, there were quite some people selling. So that was a level, maybe some people got in right there, or even they got in at the buying climax back in May. Now they found a new wave to sell, or just as soon as late July, some people got in at that point. You see that volume over there, that was very high volume bars, and then the dip suddenly happened and caught them off guard. When the price comes to the second test, now they have a good opportunity to sell. That's why it's happening like this. So if you are a bull or you're bullish, while it may still go up, be very cautious what's going to happen. So a positive scenario for you is whoever is buying the those stocks from people selling over here are trying to push the price up even further. So that means there is a bunch of bigger players trying to create this upthrust. And when people like sitting with coins or Solana they bought at the buying climax, when they offload, these bigger players bought it and trying to build up for a bigger boost to basically offload more at a higher price. If that really is the case, the likelihood of getting to an upthrust after distribution in the weekly as well as the upthrust in the daily will be higher. That's an assumption that some bigger players are trying to plan this. So whether this candle is the signal from the whales that it's time to try go up, we'll know very quickly, because the squeeze is about to happen. Whether it's going to like 70% chance to come down like I said and 30% chance to go up further, or just to add one more perspective, that this is currently happening a very long wedge. It's a flat wedge, so it doesn't tell us where it's going, and it's extending all the way to the year end. So this wedge is not going to help us in near term, but if I try to draw one more line from here, that may give us a bit a timeline that's closer. That's about mid-September. If the price, you see these candlesticks, right? So let me adjust this a little. If the price continues to stay within this wedge, it has to decide by mid-September. It should be earlier than that, so we don't have to wait too long. So either it comes outside of this contracting range to test the blue, or it has to come down, come outside and start a new trend. So by then we'll see where it's going to head, and I'm going to keep these lines over here. So when we come back next week, we'll be able to see whether the breakout has already happened. As of now, it's still within the area. So adjusting this is going to make it really crazy. So assuming it really is going to happen by mid-September, it's only a matter of 3 weeks or even shorter that we see this happening. So let's hope for the best, that it goes to the upside for final challenge to the purple, and set your stop loss for the worst to happen if it really comes down to show us some sign of weakness and eventually gets to the accumulation cycle.